Hi. So I know it's been a million years, and you guys have probably thought that I've fallen off of the edge of the earth, and I really haven't. But well, I kind of have for you guys. I'm sorry, but anyway, I wanted to get back into some fun stuff with you guys, writing related stuff, and I kind of realized that lately well, in the past I've just kind of been publishing my work, just my work, and that's it, and very little with me and the process and things like that. And I thought that you guys might find that interesting. Just more stuff about how I work, how I think. So I thought of this fun. This is Ron. This is my cat. He's the ginger. Hi, and his brother's name is Harry, and he's got dark hair and green eyes. Yeah. But anyway, I thought what I can do is just kind of do this fun off the cuff idea that I have in my antique candy dish. I have all the names of my books just in on paper, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pick one out of here, and then I'm gonna time myself. I'm gonna give myself 10 minutes, and I'm gonna talk about uh, what inspired the story, what inspired the characters, how I wrote it, etc. But this is just going to be all kind of like whoop. And some of these I haven't thought about for years, so I might be knocking a lot of cobwebs out. So this will be kind of fun. So all right, so I'll pick one out, and then I'll set the timer, and Ron will help, and we'll see what happens. All right, okay. Okay. Bureau. Oh, okay. So the Bureau of uh, Investigative Time Travel. That whole series. Okay. All right. So let me set the timer here real quick. Set a timer for 10 minutes. 10 minutes counting down. Okay. So the Bureau of Investigative Time Travel. Um, I am I'm a huge fan of the show The X-Files. A friend of mine long ago, she was addicted to it, and when I would go over to her house, she'd have an episode on sometimes, and I would watch it along with her, so I knew what it was. And then for some reason, I think it was on Netflix, and I thought I was home alone of a winter night, and I thought, let's give it a shot. Danger. So pretty soon I was addicted. I was binge watching that, and then they pulled it off of Netflix. I was like, no. So I wound up buying all of them on eBay on DVD and Blu-ray. But really, well, and so I watched all of it, and I don't know if you guys have seen, you know what it is. It's these two agents for the FBI, and they're like in the basement because they investigate strange things, just paranormal kind of weird things. At the core of it, it's like aliens. That's what the guy is after, Mulder, and then Scully is supposed to be Scully, the gal. She is like the skeptic, and so, but she's a doctor, and he's a agent, and so they're working through weird stuff. But as the series went on, I thought that, you know, um, well, what happened was they had the actor, he left the show, and so it was just the gal, and then they tried to replace both of them eventually with other people, and it just tanked out. Like, ugh, it was just really bad. And what the people who made it really didn't realize, they thought the premise was what was carrying it. No, and that's never the case. It's the characters. I don't care what they're going after or what they're doing. It's the characters that you want to see how they handle it and how they react to each other, and things like that. So I thought to myself, I would really love to create a little series, like an episodic series, that's almost like each thing is like an episode, and with a strong bonded character pair like that are like real unlikely to team up in the first place, but they're kind of thrown together by their bosses. And so I'm like, okay, what can I do there? You know, I want that. But then, see, I'm trying to think of how I came up with this premise of the Bureau trying to fix, or they solve, what they do is they go back in time and they solve crimes that have not been solved. And then they just bring the results back to modern day. And that's what they put in the history books now, is in the records. It's like, well, we figured out who Jack the Ripper is. And we figured him out, and we know what he did. They don't actually do anything in the past. They're not supposed to do anything to the person in the past. They're not supposed to interfere at all. They're just supposed to bring the truth back to the present day. Not supposed to interfere. But of course, what our two people will find out is that maybe people have been interfering. And their main thing is they're called Ghost Division. And so they, well, what the Bureau has done is any haunted houses that have existed throughout history that people don't go near because, oh, it's haunted. Those are actually stations for the Bureau of Investigative Time Travel. They set up devices to make sure that that house looks like it's haunted. So people won't go near it. So they do ghost apparitions and things like this. But what my two agents are investigating is, it seems that some ghost technology that the Bureau has put out there has gone rogue, or someone is using it for their own purposes. So they're going to investigate ghosts. Even though there's no such thing as ghosts, it's the technology. So that sends them to all kinds of different places. I like the Victorian era. I tend to be more knowledgeable about the Victorian era, just from reading Ruth Goodman. She's a great resource. She wrote a book called How to Be a Victorian, and it's just like the day-to-day lives of Victorians, like what they wear and what they eat and their jobs and ticky-tacky things like that I find fascinating. So I can look to her to figure out things like that. Also, Victorians tended to have like really interesting names, like funny names, especially their first names and their last names. And so I was like, what are the most eccentric names that I can find to put in this? Like Charles Dickens, you know, he has funny names, or names that really sound like the person, like Scrooge. You know, that's a very charactery name. And he does that a lot. So that's kind of like what I enjoy, is like lyrical, quirky names for this series. That whole thing took a lot to figure out and to work out. And there's stuff that I've yet to reveal about actually who the villain is, because at this point in the series, I think I've written like 8 episodes or so. You don't know who the villain is, but there is one. Every Sherlock needs a Moriarty, but usually Moriarty doesn't show up until way later, and you realize that he's been orchestrating a lot of stuff from the beginning, but you didn't know it. That's kind of how this is. And there's a lot more. There's a lot more to the whole. Well, like for this concept, you'll notice that modern day is supposed to be our modern day, but it is not. It is extremely steampunky, and people walk around in mixes of clothings from different time periods. Well, what they don't realize is that all of their going back in time and bringing things forward all the time, it's starting to mush time periods together. Nothing is really distinctive anymore. They're pulling the past into the future and it's kind of mushed and ruined a lot of things. And that might be one of the things the villain is trying to point out. A good villain always has a good point in there somewhere. He just is going about fixing it the wrong way. But he probably he's noticed something that is alarming, and he's like, this needs to be fixed. And no, like the way he's doing it is manipulative, or he murders people or things like that. But it's a really fun series. I'd say that my favorite one that I wrote is probably the Ghost. I think it's called The Ghost of the Adriatic, which is the Adriatic is a precursor to the Titanic, so it's a smaller cruising vessel, like not a cruise, it's a ocean liner. But it was the grandma of the Titanic. So I just love old ships. I love that era of ocean liner. I'd love to go on an ocean liner. I think there's only one left. I think it's the Queen Mary. But I'd love to go on it. Because the difference between a cruise line and an ocean liner is that the ocean liner is to take you somewhere. The cruise just kind of goes in a circle, but the ocean liner is like, I'm taking you from New York to London or something like that. So it just seems so romantic to me, such a romantic way to travel. So I love the ship and how many decks there are and what's on each deck and what do they have for dinner and all of that things, and then just like immersing you in that. So like when you read this, you will feel like you are on a voyage on this ship, guaranteed. So pick that one up if you haven't read it yet. And the rest of the series is also very immersive, very atmospheric, and the characters are fun. I had a real fun time creating both the clock tower office where they work all the time, and the bureau, the costume area, like where they go to get costumed, and the lady who gives them all their equipment and gives them their names. That's really fun. And then all of their different settings. Are you leaving? I'm tired of being up here. Pitiful. But it's just, those are just fun little episodes, and I have more planned if I feel like getting into those again, because again, they're episodic. There's a whole bunch of them like that I have outlined for. Oh, my time is up. Okay, so if you haven't checked out that series, go do it. I mean, they're not very expensive. I think they're 99 cents a piece, so you could get like all 8 of them for $8. So yeah, go over there and read them. They're fun. I can put the link in here somewhere. But also, yeah, Cecil, like it's another thing that I wanted to say. Might sound funny, but if there's anything that you need me to, or that you want me to pray for, send me a message. Let me know. If there's something going on in your life, something you're thinking about, something you're going through, that you want somebody to pray for, let me know. I'm here. So, see you guys next week.